Well, hello again, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Grimmer, and I'm the Gentleman Barbarian, and you find us back in Southwest Harbor. I say that like I've actually gone somewhere other than here. But we are now going to go on a little bit longer ride for this video. We're going to come from Southwest Harbor, we're going to go down in along, you can see where the vehicles are going up and along there, and we're going to hit the seawall road, which comes up and around the southwestern tip of MDI, and we're going to start making our way up back north and in towards the mainland through, again, a few other roads that, unless you're local, unless you ride in around here more frequently, you might not know about. You probably do, and it wouldn't be all that hard to find them, but this is where we're going to go. Alright, are you parking or are you pulling forward? Yeah, it looks like he's parking, so we're just going to pull right past him. Awesome. Hello. Oof. That was, yep, an abysmal parallel parking job. I'm so sorry. But, oof. Stevie Wonder could do better. I got the idea for doing this particular ride about maybe a month and a half or so ago, maybe 2 months. My bike was in the shop at the time, and as soon as I thought of it, and I was already thinking, man, I want to be out on the bike and ride. And then as soon as I thought of that route, I go, oh, damn it. Now I really want to go. So, yeah, here we go. We're gonna be riding it out. There we go. Forgot to buckle up my helmet. That would have done me a lot of good. It's better this way. This gives me an actual reason to use the sun visor inside of my helmet. My helmet, by the way, what I use is the LS2 Valiant, and it's a very, very nice helmet. I really like it. Modular. Can be full face, can be half, can be 3/4. It is pretty rad. I like the versatility, especially on the really hot days and I'm not filming. Oh my god, just the ability to not have the mouthpiece in front of me, so I've got wind hitting, and I mean obviously it has the vents in the front like all the other full face, but just some days it's just so nice to still have the face shield in front of you, but you can have the wind just coming right up through the underside of your helmet. Ah. Highly underrated. Let me guess, you're gonna turn here? Is that what you're doing, Mass? Are you, oh, you're gonna pull off to the side of the road? Okay, we can do that too. That's fine. Yeah, any turn. Yeah. Funny to me, it's like, oh yeah, it said sidewalk closed. There wasn't a sidewalk here originally. Like, this was all just, you know, take it as you see it. So now they're breaking into the hill and cliffside there to build up a new spot. You're just over there. Pretty cool way to do this. And
now to do the most inefficient route that we possibly can to get around the island. Beautiful? Yes. Fastest way to get around it? No. Not even close. Don't know why, but I'm just very itchy on my face today. You'll notice that a lot of people have their own stands set up. They're selling dry camp wood. It is a very popular little, it's not even a side business, it's just a little bit of extra income here and there. You know, I imagine that if you're camping somewhere and you suddenly run out of firewood and you just need to get more, and obviously, you know, the park system, you can't exactly go out and get more. You're supposed to leave everything, and you better leave everything if you're in a national park, dear God. But, you know, if you're not just on someone's property where you're allowed to forage, or you're on your own property even, like, where by all means, like, take as many of the branches as you want, it's yours, but either way, one of those deals where I imagine, you know, being able to go to just some random stranger's house, pick up some camp wood is it's pretty great. Yeah, so this is the seawall road so far. Now, I will warn you, if you're a fellow rider, I mean, I will warn anyone who comes along this road, especially if you're a fellow rider, there is so many deer around this area. So many. It's uncanny. It's very, yeah, it's hard to describe. There's just so many, dude. Like, I remember driving along here one day, there's like 30 just in this field alone, just middle of the day, just like 30 deer there. And that was after seeing, like, 3 were in this yard. There was another 5 in the yard that's coming up, yeah, right here in this front yard. There's 5 here, there are 2 there next to that house. Like, no joke, like, our heads just kept snapping back and forth. 7 in that field, I remember. Yeah, it was insanity. I don't know what it was that just made all of them decide, hey, we're gonna all come out here right now. But they were, god damn it, they were everywhere. Seaside Cafe up in here if you're looking for a nice spot. Oh man, that ocean breeze is chilly. It's nice. Been working outside all day, pouring sweat, so this is just, so nice. Seawall store. Excellent use of the turn signal by Pennsylvania there. I'm not being ironic, they actually did a very nice job. How about that for a view, eh? Oh, I don't know if you can see it. Probably can't. I just saw the head of a seal poke up and then go back down. And no, it wasn't a buoy. I know what a buoy looks like. You know, they usually aren't painted brown and gray, because you want to be able to see the damn thing. is. Alright, I'm just gonna roll up into here so that way I don't get smacked by that car. Yeah. Oh, and there was another 15 deer in here too. I wasn't kidding. I don't know what it was, but they were just everywhere that day. None of them jumped out in front of us. That's exactly my point, is that we just happened to luck out and we weren't riding bikes that day. But even so, there was every chance that, you know, there could have been some over in here. There probably are some among the woods and trees over here. You never know until they're popping out in front of you. I've noticed, thankfully, they usually don't like doing that with the bike for me, but I don't know if the rest of you ever seen it, but that one dude who hit a deer, you know, its head, there was a doe, hit his leg, and it snapped his shin bone. What is it, tibia, I think? Yeah. Whatever it was, broke his leg. And you know that he didn't really notice. Manages to keep the bike up. Just insane at it. Just, you know, his handlebars are going in a bit of a death wobble because he's riding in the shoulder, like he's in the gravel. And he manages to keep it up. Well, if by some miracle that rider ever sees this video and he sees that I've given him a shout out, that was some incredible riding, considering how much of an impact you took, where the conditions were and everything. Just very well done to keep the bike up. Just goddamn, sir. I was so impressed. And I'm so sorry that your leg got broken like that, because that sucks. But hey, you got the story to tell at the bar, right? And that's what we're all looking for. Yeah, as I've said in other times, you know, if you ever see me out riding around, if you ride, feel free to just kind of hop into the pack a little bit, I guess. You know, it's just another way to meet new people, and I'm always down as far as riders go. I don't mind being around other people when they're on the bikes for obvious reasons. You know, you're still there. We'll warn you that I do not typically ride like a hooligan, so if that's your thing, I mean, by all means, do it. I'm not dissing it. I'm just saying it's not really for me. Plus, I just don't feel like exercising my first aid knowledge on somebody I just met because they decided to pull something, and now they're riding with me, and now I feel obligated to help them out. I almost turned down the left, and I remembered that that's essentially a dead end. I mean, not ultimately, but functionally for what we're doing. We're just doing a loop today. If you haven't noticed in the theme of the last few videos, we're just doing a nice big loop of Mount Desert Island. And we're not even doing the most scenic one that we could do, in all honesty. Like I said, if any of these spark anyone's interest, I'll gladly come back in around this area. I like riding around into Bar Harbor, Northeast Harbor, Southwest, obviously, and now into Bass Harbor. So I really don't mind at all. But, you know, I'm not just going to hit up the national parks. Well, probably will at some point, being honest. But most of the places that I know and love to ride, I don't need to pay an entrance fee to go. But, like I said, enough people show interest, I'll do it. Gladly. Twist my arm to go on, you know, more beautiful roads in this state that I love so much. Here's Bass Harbor. This is very much a working harbor. You know, you'll see a few, you know, the sailboats and whatnot, but most of the yachts do not go here. They really don't. I don't know if it's the draft, if it's, you know, not deep enough. It probably is my guess. But I would think that there are just other places. You'll also notice a lot more fisherman's gear on certain spots as well. Well, you'll notice it less right now because it's all in the friggin' water. But you get my meaning. It's much more modest houses around Bass Harbor than there is in, you know, for instance, Northeast Harbor. Or obviously Bar Harbor. You know, there's not too many of the smaller houses left. Negotiate the stern. Okay. And here we go. Forgot that it's not a school time. I was about to go down to 15 miles an hour, but I realized I don't have to do that. Into Tremont. Like I said, a lot of the time you're not seeing a, you know, obviously, here's somebody from New Hampshire. You're not seeing a bunch of tourists in around these areas. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not just saying like, hey, everybody come on down here. There's not really much down here really to interest you guys other than, you know, some pretty views and whatnot. But most of the national park stuff is all back that way. So this is just more along the lines of, hey, you want a very pretty spot to come ride. Well, you can do it a lot worse. Here's a nice little scenic outlook. We are now in the village of Bernard. Just giving you guys these little updates as I either remember them or see the road signs. Because I know it's hard to read where these places are. I'm guessing that's probably a Bernard family right there. Because they're at the street. Ooh. That's an adventure for another time. Just remember that I have dinner waiting for myself at home, so I don't need to be going around eating from food trucks today. On another night, definitely, but not tonight. Tremont is where we're at now. It's a really nice campground down in there. Ironically, now that I'm, you know, riding past on my friggin' motorcycle, it's called Quiet Side Campground. A little bit less quiet when I'm riding past, but usually only ever riding past. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not all that concerned though. It's far from the worst sound to hear coming through in the distance. I can't imagine too many people would like the sound of my exhaust rumbling through while they're just trying to have a nice quiet campfire. I must admit that would probably irk me too. You gotta just really appreciate the beauty of just these little towns and villages. I mean, I always appreciate the beauty of them, in all honesty, but I'm just happy that I can bring these views to folks who might not be able to do it in a way that not everybody can do. Some people are just can't ride physically anymore. Well, maybe they can, but they have no desire to, or maybe it scares them, or they don't know anybody who can bring them along. Or maybe they, I've had this one too, where, they absolutely know somebody who rides, but that person refuses to take anybody on the back of their bike for whatever reason. And those reasons are their own, and they're all valid. But and here we are in Seal Cove. But yeah, I just like the idea of being able to, like I said, just bring these places right to you, and in a method that you might not be able to do either anymore, or just have maybe the interest, but either can't or won't. Everything is so much different being on a motorcycle than it is being in a car or in a truck for that matter. I can tell you that right now. This is very much a different way to see things. So you're already so much more aware of everything around you on the bike. And especially when there isn't a lot of traffic and whatnot, it makes it a little bit easier, to see everything coming. And therefore you can enjoy the scenery a little bit more. You process it more than if you're in a car. Because I have at least a little bit of leeway as far as staying inside or on the road, but same time, much higher risk if I screw that up. Like I said, as you can tell by the vast lack of other vehicles on the road so far, these roads aren't nearly as well traveled as, obviously the one into Bar Harbor is, and towards Acadia National Park is obviously the most frequently traveled roads, especially here in this area of Maine. But This is just one of those spots that a lot of people really wouldn't get to see. And of course, some of it you could definitely do without seeing the rest of your life, but who really wants to live in a world like that where you don't want to see just a little bit more. I promise to take you all up on one of my forays into Canada, especially on back in the actual Mount Desert, the town of specifically. Sorry if I'm getting quiet on the rest of you for this video, but I'm just really enjoying the ride. 90% of the time that I'm riding, it's just quiet. So this is a new phenomenon. You know, having constantly just talk. Well, as far as having to talk to nobody. Well, currently I'm talking to nobody. I'm talking into a microphone with a camera watching everything that I'm doing. But I know that eventually this is going out to all you. You know, you lucky few who are watching my videos. You wonderful bastards, you. But, yeah, no, it's... Alright, that's a dead end, so we're going this way. Onto the Indian Point Road. We're already on it, but further down Indian Point Road. And on our way over into Town Hill. And then eventually back in Trenton. we're coming down into a slower area. Another ride that I'd like to take you guys on, let's see, yeah, it's Route 26, Windham, Maine, which is technically like the starting point. So it goes from Windham and up into the, I think is it White Mountain State Park? It's at the northern tip of New Hampshire there. Like the road comes right up to the southwestern side of Maine. Goes right up into the northern tip of New Hampshire, and you go up to this place called Grafton Notch, and then you just take Route 3 all the way back down and eventually turn off, come back into Maine, and you ride over to Portland. And yeah, no, the first and only time that I ever rode my bike up through there was with my friend Vicky and a bunch of her riding buddies, and it's everybody there is on a Harley Davidson except me, because obviously I'm on my V Star here, but they go like, yeah, do you think you'll be able to keep up? And I said, yeah, it shouldn't be a problem, because like all their bikes are 800-900 pounds probably, and even if they're 1,500-1,600, maybe even 1,800. My bike's at least 100 pounds lighter than their lightest bike, or the same weight, and then the same power, or at the very least I'm lighter, and therefore can just keep up with the same amount of acceleration they got. So I ended up riding with them. It was a whole day. It was awesome. Started like mid-morning, and I caught up with them in Windham, because I lived an hour away. The rest of them are down Portland area, so they can all meet up immediately. So I had to ride for an hour to get down there, and I finally do. I happened to time it just about right. A little bit of going back and forth, but eventually it was like, okay, I can link up with them. And then we just started riding, and the whole time I'm looking at these clouds in the distance, and I go to the guy who's at the head. I don't remember your name, politely, brother. I'm sorry, but the pack leader is there, and I turn to him and I go, "Hey, those look like pretty heavy rain clouds right there." And he goes, "Oh no!" He says they're gonna go right by us. And he points off to our north, and I'm like, "Oh, so they're gonna blow past?" He goes, "Yeah." He says we might hit some wet pavement at some point, but we're gonna, it's just gonna blow right by us. And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So we're riding for another hour and a half or so. And I'm looking, and these clouds are, they're getting bigger, and they're not further north of us yet. And I look at him, I go, "Hey, dude, those clouds are still looking not great, brother." And he says, "Oh, no. He says, those clouds are going to go right by us." And I said, "I checked the weather this morning." He says, "The clouds are going to go right by us." I said, "All right, sounds good to me." Riding for another hour, and we're getting up into, the state park there. And we're probably another 30, 40 minutes from Grafton Notch. And he's looking at the cloud, and first off, as we're riding, and we ended up pulling off a couple miles later, but like all of a sudden I see something bounce, and it flies past me, and I realize just at a glance, I'm like, "Oh, that's somebody's phone." And I see one of the guys slam on the brakes, and I'm like, "Oh no." But I thought that they'd seen him, and so we went for like another mile or two, and then stopped at the turnout. because like he wasn't exactly in the absolute rear of the pack. Like he was a couple guys up, so like he stopped and no one else went. And so I was like, oh well, you know, they must know something I don't, because you're supposed to stop when someone goes. But everyone else kept going, so I was like, ah, okay. And we ended up pulling off. And the guy's like, hey, like, where's so-and-so? I'm like, oh, he's out back. His phone dropped. And he's like, but I figured that's why we were stopping. He says, oh no, he says, I didn't even know he was gone. I said, well, damn. So next time I'll be sure to stop with him. He says, yep, be sure that you do. And then he's looking up and goes, it's just so much cloud coverage at this point. Like the sun's completely blotted out. Like it's dark right up ahead of us, and it's completely grayed out above us and behind us now because there's so much of it. And he's standing there going like, you just see him shaking his head and like waving his arms, kind of animated. So I go over to him and Matt and Vicky, and I go like, hey, what's going on? And he says, well, I don't get it, man. He says the weather report said that those clouds were just going to be going right by us. I said, yeah, here's the thing, brother. I said, those clouds are going right by us. And he laughs, we all laugh, and I go, well, I hope you all brought some rain gear. And they're like, well, you know, and they're all, you know, rough and tough bikers, and they're all pretty old school, so most of them, they've got their leathers, which last I checked, most of those aren't waterproof. So I start pulling out my stuff, and I've got, obviously I've got a leather jacket as well, but I had with me, because again, I saw that the fact there was going to be rain, you know, put on my my other riding jacket, the one that's, you know, mostly waterproof, but the windshield is pretty waterproof. It's not waterproof like at the zipper. Like that's it's a problem. But put all my stuff on, and then it starts to pour. I mean, brother, it is raining cats and dogs. It's like having somebody upend a 5-gallon bucket over your head, like over the span of about, I want to say, 2 minutes. Like that's what it felt like. It was just so much water. So my head's already soaked. I can feel it starting to trickle down like my front and back a little bit, not through my jacket, but like through the neck hole. And we're all standing under these trees that barely have any leaves on them, let alone branches. Then finally I look across the road and I'm like, ah, oh, there's a pine tree there. And I go, oh, I'm gonna have to try that out. So the guy's like, you think you're gonna get like better coverage over there? I said, well, it won't be dry. It probably won't be dry, but at least it'll be a little better, probably, in my mind. And he says, you know what? I'll tell you what, brother. He says, you go check it out. He says, if it's good, he says, I'll come over there and keep you company. I said, yeah, I'm sure you will if it's dry. Okay. So I walk and I go right over there, bone dry. If we've been all standing underneath that tree and the other pine tree someone else found, like we would have been perfectly okay the whole time. But it rained probably like 40-50 minutes, that whole section there, and it was fun, but it was rough, you know, just getting soaked. And then after all that, I'll tell you what, there we go, just wave this guy in. But after all that, we ended up going and just riding. A couple of them went and bought rain jackets because of course, you know, we're putting on the armor in the spots that, you know, you think need it. But yeah, that's a really good memories going up in there, especially since, so another part of the story time. So we went to the Black Bear Tavern after we went past Grafton Notch and everything. So essentially you follow Route 26 all the way up. I don't remember the name of the town. Sorry. I'll look it up at some point. I'm sure that when I'm actually going to go and ride there, I'll have the town name like solidified in my head. But that day I was just following the pack. And so we ended up going to the Black Bear Tavern, and we're sitting there and We've all got our boots off underneath the table, trying to dry them out as best we can, let our feet air out. We requested patio seating so we could do that. And thank God we were the only ones out there because, well, it didn't stink at my table, but it might have stunk at a few of the others because, you know, it's a bunch of riding boots that are now soaked through. And so we end up, you know, eating there, really nice meal, good food there. So I definitely recommend Black Bear Tavern if you're ever in northern New Hampshire. But we all coming out and getting on the bikes, and I'll never forget it. I just remember seeing this very, very pretty girl in a green dress standing on the balcony. She's looking down at all the bikes and all of us, and one of the guys comes up and he says, "Yo," he says, "you should go talk to her." And I was like, I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Me talk to her. I was like, "She's been looking at you," and he just sort of grins at me. He said, "Brother, she ain't looking at me." He says, "She got eyes for no one but you right now, I'm telling you." There we go. And now we're going to go this way as opposed to the usual way up in Ellsworth, because why the hell not? But actually, now that I think about it, much like my chances with that girl, I think that this is as good of a place to end it as any, is right here at the Trenton Fire Department. And I do believe this will be the last video for the night. But I appreciate you all
riding with me on this roundabout sort of tour. I wanted to finish that story real quick. No, I didn't go up and talk to the girl, and I've regretted it since. Because that's just how I roll. Anti-Riz is this man right here. But at any rate, hope you guys enjoyed the stories, and if not that, then definitely the ride, I would hope. And I'll see you next time. Remember, drink deep of victory and remember the fallen. Ride safe.